Have a good day. Thanks.
Hey guys, how are you today? I'm Caya, and today here with my mariachi we're going to be showing you everything that we got from buying a quarter of a cow. This is the second year that we do it, and we ordered this cow in the fall. We have this little fridge that we're going to be using to store our meat. This is a freezer, standard freezer. We have two freezers that we use to store meat. We also have a hog that we ordered, and I'm gonna show you that too. But yeah, we have been buying beef for about this is the second year that we buy beef. We really enjoy the meat quality, and this is what we got. So I'm gonna be showing you, walking you through everything that we get. That's because it's like 6 over. That's for 6 in each packet, I think. Yeah.
That's what they normally do, 6 in.
They do 4. Hey, at least it closes good. So hey friends, this is what we got for our beef. We got all these patties. I think we have, I think it was 20 packets of beef, and these are gonna be hamburger patties. We got all this from the cow. We ordered a bunch of ground meat, and with the ground meat, I think we have there's 9 pounds right here. I already used one, and also we have all this. We have different cuts of meat. We didn't get many cuts of meat this time, but we got some round steak. We have, this is a brisket down here. We have different kinds of steaks over here. There's more beef sirloin, and we also got some tallow. But this is not tallow. This is, they call it beef suet. And what you do is that you melt this, and then it turns into tallow. So you have to melt it, and then you can use it as a cooking fat. So since this time we were splitting the cow with a friend, he got a bunch of organ meat. We didn't get that much organ meat this time. Last time we got some liver, we got some the cow's tongue and stuff like that. This time we didn't. This time we only got a bunch of ground meat. There's some roast over here, I think. These are short ribs, and I'm gonna show you how I cook that. Short ribs, round steak. Yeah, we got a lot of steaks this time. We didn't get that many beef steak. Here's another thing, round beef steak. So yeah, we got cuts that we are able to use, because we figured out that we use a lot more ground meat than we thought. We use a lot of burger patties because my kids and my husband love burger patties, and it's just easier to manage than having all the different big cuts. We don't really use big cuts. So here's more. Let me see what more steak. There's more steak, and some of these are like ribeye and stuff like that. I just can't seem to find it. Ooh, more steak. This is a roast. Yeah, you get a lot of beef whenever you buy half a cow, or this is not half a cow, this is a quarter of a cow, and then the butcher calls you, and then they say, what kind of cuts do you want? And then you tell them what kind of cuts do you want. So we ended up buying this fridge in the marketplace. We went on Facebook and somebody had it. It's a freezer, it's a standing freezer, and we bought it so that we could be able to store all this meat, because we only had this refrigerator right here. Is really old, and I was using it already for broths and turkeys and sauces and things that I freeze, but it wasn't gonna have enough space, because we also process our own chicken in the homestead. We also process chicken, And this time we also got some pork. And whenever it's Thanksgiving time, I usually go and I buy turkeys, and I try to keep turkeys here. These turkeys are gonna be used for Thanksgiving. So yeah, I usually make bone broth, and I try to freeze it, so I have frozen bone broth. This is going to be a half a hog that we ordered. No, it's a full hog. My husband also went and I bought a hog, a full hog. And we got a lot of sausage. This was completely full. We already used a lot of sausage. This is spicy sausage. This is regular sausage. We like it in our breakfast. And we have a lot of pork chops over here. A lot of pork chops and different cuts of meat. Pork ribs. This is the suet from the beef. I needed to move it over here because it wasn't fitting. And yeah, there's a beef right here, beef tongue. This is from last year. I haven't cooked it yet, so I kept the meat in here for like about a year, I think. Pork ribs right there, pork chops, pork cuts. And those are some of the chickens that I have left that I processed this year. And this is a duck that I also processed this year in the homestead. YouTube doesn't like it when I show you how to process my meat. They don't like it. I don't know why. I think it's too graphic or something, but they don't want to recommend the videos whenever we butcher animals. But I have a couple of videos where I show you when we were learning, and another video when we did like an official full-on fridge setup. So yeah, in the spring we're gonna be butchering more chickens. Right now we have about 6 chickens that we butchered this season. And yeah, this is the first time that I butcher chickens that are layers. Normally we buy the little meat birds and we process those, but this time we didn't. We had some layers that were a little bit old. They were not laying anymore, so we processed those and we froze them. And let me tell you, the broth is a lot better. Yeah, you get more flavor with the layer chickens than you do whenever you buy meat birds, because they just don't have that much flavor. They're just more lean of an animal. They don't have as much fat. They have a lot of meat, so therefore they don't flavor the broth that much. So yeah, this is a lot of the beef that we're gonna be consuming during the winter. We're gonna be consuming all this beef. We're gonna be consuming the pork that you saw in there, and we are also waiting. And yes, we are also waiting on some pork. What did they say? Hams, pork hams, and also we are waiting on bacon. So the reason that they don't give you the bacon and the pork ham whenever you buy the pork or the hog, because they have to cure it. They have to go through a curing process, and apparently they had just finished doing the one big curing process. So when we ordered the hog, they had to restart it. So it's a whole process. I'm ignorant about it. I don't know what it requires, but since they process many hogs at one go, and then they have to distribute it to many people, well, they have to go and cure the turkey, and they have to go and cure the ham, and you don't get it whenever you get your hog. You get it later. So we still have a couple more weeks to wait for that. But yeah, that's part of the meals that that's part of the meat that we're gonna be using in this winter. We're gonna be using beef, and we're gonna be using pork. Normally I shop with coupons, and I try to always find sales for things that I can use in the kitchen. And normally in my couponing channel, I'll show you whenever I get beef. I show you whenever we usually don't get beef, because beef is pretty expensive at the store. That's why we end up going with this route, because it's a lot more affordable whenever you can get together with a couple people and try to get a quarter of a cow, because it's 4 people that they divide the whole cow into, and everybody pays a fee. And the butcher store, whenever we went to the butcher store, it said that you can get on a list at the butcher store to be able to share your cow with other people. So I think the whole butchering process, the whole process for the cow, I believe is about $800. So my husband said he contacted the farmer. I think the farmer makes a post in Facebook Marketplace, something like that. It's not Marketplace, it's like a community chat. So she makes a post on there, and then he goes and contacts her, and then she makes a deal with the butcher shop, which is where they go and they process the animal. And then what you get is like the cuts, and the meat is already wrapped, and they just write down what it is, and then you know what you have in your fridge. And so yeah, I wish I could give you like a whole lot more information about it, but it's really nothing hands-on that we do. It's just my husband sends a couple messages, and then they message him back, and then the butcher shop calls, and then he said, what kind of cuts do you want? And then we tell them this many cuts, and then we go and pick it up. The pickup is really easy because you already arranged it a couple days before to go and pick it up. And so last time that we got meat from a cow, it was around October. So that's whenever you contact the farmer. And the beef, I'm not gonna say is fully grass-fed beef, because I'm not 100% sure that it is. But one thing that we noticed is that the flavor of the meat is really, really good. We've been using sausage to make breakfast, and the flavor of the sausage is really good, and it doesn't have that much fat in it, so there's not a whole lot of waste. So yeah, we've been pretty happy with the results that we've been getting from the beef, and the flavor was fantastic. So we figured out last year that we didn't really want many cuts of meat that were big pieces of meat. So this time we went with a lot more ground meat because it's easier to use. And also, since we were gonna have pork there, we enjoy pork more like in the smoker or in the oven or in the pan. So yeah, that's why we went this route. So it's about 800 for the, I think it's about 800 for the beef. For all that beef, I think it's about 250 for the hog. So since you get a lot of meat and bacon and ham and everything, so you just have to find a place to store everything that you get. So yeah, I'm gonna show you one little bitty recipe that I did with my short ribs. This is from Laura in the kitchen. I had to change a couple things because I didn't have the ingredients, but the kids enjoy the food. So yeah, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us, and let me know what you do to stock up your fridge. Okay, to make this easy, we're gonna start here in the Instant Pot. We're gonna brown all the meat. These are gonna be short ribs, and they have a lot of fat, so you just want to make sure you don't add fat and just let them brown on their own, and later we're going to remove some of that fat. Then in a pot we're going to be using garlic, and we're going to be using onion, and we're going to be using tomato sauce. I didn't have tomato sauce, so I used a little bit of spaghetti sauce that I had left. So, but you want to use like plain tomato sauce if you want it. If you have it, you're gonna brown everything here just to develop some flavors, and then we're going to be adding some wine, red wine if you have any. I use just wine that I had in the fridge. You're gonna use like a quarter of a cup, maybe a third of a cup. Yeah, you're gonna add it here, and you're gonna let all these flavors infuse. Once you have them all mixed in, then you're gonna go and top it off with a little bit of beef broth. Since we are cooking beef, we're gonna be adding beef broth, and you can make this meal in a pan if you wanted to, but I wanted to cook it in the Instant Pot just for ease of use, just because I wanted this to be done today. I also added fresh herbs. That's gonna be thyme right there that you're gonna be adding, and don't forget to add a little bit of salt too. to your taste. And some people add chicken bouillon. I didn't have any since I was already flavoring with the beef broth that had a little bit of spicy. I didn't add a ton more spices, but feel free to add more spices if you want to. Like I said, the tomato sauce that I use already had some flavor in it also as well. So I went here in the pressure cooker and I cooked it for an hour just so that I could get it all nice and bubbly and falling off the bone right here. Now you have a chance to make everything a little bit thicker if you let this sit in here and let the sauce reduce, or you can move it to a pan and reduce it there. If you cook it in the oven, you can also do that. I added a slurry of water and a little bit of cornstarch just to make it a little bit thicker. And here are my kids like trying it out. We combined it with rice. If you want to make a salad on the side, you can do that too. It's already dead, dude. Hot. Yummy. Hot. Cool. Acceptable.
That's good.